Hello again, everybody. It's Harry Boxer, the technical trader at TDOC It's Wednesday, April 1st, and the market didn't fool around. It went down. But a lot of stocks we followed did great today. I'm going to show you first some indices and some technicals before I get into the individual chart patterns. You can see that we've had a bit of a rally off the lows and a decent Fibonacci retracement on the order of a 0.375. But today we gapped down and we went down and then finished down there. The futures are higher this afternoon. Doesn't mean much. We'll see where they are in the morning. But I'm still of the opinion this is an important low, and we may retest or make a higher low. It would be great if we pull back down to this gap at some point, near 23.45 at max. That's about 115 points on the S&Ps, and or rallied right from here and went back up again. If that's the case, there's always that possibility that we may be setting up this kind of a pattern, which creates a new rising channel, and we're looking at 2,900 in the next few weeks. Maybe. That's a big maybe indeed. Here's the NASDAQ 100. The NDX also had a hit today. You can see though, and these are, by the way, are hourly charts. I think it best displays the trend. Here's your rising channel top. And in fact, if we're doing what I said on the S&P, on the NDX as well, and we're at the channel bottom or near it, and the gap support would be big at about 73.20.25 right there. So we could widen it a little bit down there. But for the most part, I'd love to see this market take off right here. Now, if it does, and we get some short covering, 7,700 is absolutely a line in the sand resistance level. That would be right there. That is not only because of price, but also moving averages. We get back above that, we're in rally mode. But for now, the support zone is 73.30, the 73.75 zone down there, and then beneath that, it's a retest of the lows. So this is an important point for the market. Is this a 1-2 and we get a 3? Well, you can see where the 3 might take it, 8,500. Wouldn't that be something? The transportation index, not responding, but it looks similar. And we'll just have to see whether it holds support near the gap at around 71.50. It isn't a bad pattern. If you see the declining pattern, breakaway gap and run up to resistance, and then the breakdown from a little platform, well, that happens, and it's just a deeper retrace on the order of 50% fib retracement. The VIX, which shows fear, is actually going lower, and a good indication for the market as fear is subsiding to a certain extent. Does this look like a bear flag to you? It does to me. If that's the case, we got a 1, 2, 3, 4, and another pullback down and rally back up on the market. This is an opposite type indicator. The percentage of stocks above their 40s improved. It got up to about 6%. It's currently around 4.2%, which is extremely amazing to me. That 96% of stocks are still below their 40. Amazing. I'm sorry, 50 period moving average. Okay, no, this one is at 40. You're right. So let's go on and take a look at some of the stocks that I'm featuring today. Love some of these patterns. Let's take a look at them. Then I'm going to go over some shorts as well. I'm going to start with Alcoa. I put out a swing on it because I got a feeling that from an historical basis, where as washed out as the stock has ever been, it is the lowest level on Alcoa in 40 years. So I'm of the opinion that from a basic metal standpoint, this might be a successful retest. It had a reversal bar today. We'll see. I have targets up at around 8 and about 9.5. AHPI still at the apex, but today it popped 256 or 14% and traded a million. Not in a vine, but I got to tell you, if it pops out of here or gaps tomorrow, and after hours it is up. Take a look. 22 last. It's up another 2 points after hours. So it's probably going to gap tomorrow, and if it does, it could fly. First target is 27.5, and we're looking into the low to mid 30s. Wouldn't that be something? AIM held support for 3 days in a row. I think that might be significant. Right there. There's also a gap there. So if we don't go below today's low, that's about 2.25, and then take out 3.5, I think we're on our way to 5, 6, and 7, maybe 8. Need volume. Amarin exploded off the low today. Obviously got crushed yesterday, but for this to go from 4 to 529 and close around 5, up 25% on 96 million shares, might be reversal time. Now I put out swing targets at I think it was 6.5 and 8, something like that. 6.5 and 8. We'll see if it goes higher than that. But there's the bottom line. It looks like it's reversed today. We'll see. APRN coming out of a consolidation pattern with a pop of 155 or 13%. Volume was 6.7 million. It may come on strong and make a move towards the high teens. That's what I would be looking for. If tomorrow's a positive day with volume. APT rocking it as well. I noted 2 days ago it broke out of its wedge. Pulled back a little bit on low volume. Look how low the volume was on the pullback yesterday. And today, boom. Up 512 or 42% on 20 million. And after hours, moving higher. Now the resistance is 2165. And after hours, it got to 19 and change. So watch this one for a gap and run tomorrow to test that 2165 area. If we get through that, you're on your way to mid-20s. ATHX has been exploding for 5 days in a row now. Take a look at the pop off the low and that beautiful little wedge it formed. Right at the apex, it had a low volume ebb, and then exploded and literally went vertical from $1.80 to $4.40 in about 4 days. Overbought? You betcha. Does it have momentum? Indeed. Where can it go from here? Well, we'll see. Right now, I'm looking at the possibilities that this is broken out through everything, but there is a high way back here in 2014 that may have to be contended with at 433, and today's high was 438. So maybe we need to pull back and retest it on this one. Just wanted to show it to you. IFRX also had a massive breakaway gap and exploded for $1.91. That's 50% on a mere 27.5 million shares. It's at the top of the channel, and it pulled back from there. But if it backs and fills, my next target is 9 plus. Lake, similar to APT, also popped today and had a massive engulfing reversal day with a volume of 1.8 million shares, going from 15 to 1785 and closing 30 cents off the high up 208, 205. This stock looks like it's going to test maybe tomorrow morning 1880. We get to that, we're looking at 21.5, 22. NCR, I wanted to show you this pattern. I like the way it's setting up. Had an engulfing reversal day to the upside when many stocks were doing the opposite. That's very impressive. I think they had earnings. It traded 3.4 million, engulfed the last 2 days sessions and closed 1881 up 111. There is some resistance right there from the rally high. That comes in at 1987, so we get through that, and I'd be looking up around 22, my target. NET, nice little reversal day, coming back off the highs. This one may move into the high 20s, 28 target. Novavax, a little bit of a pop, but not a follow through yet. Now, they retested, and if it gets to 15, you're on your way to 18 and 22. OSUR, what a wonderful rally this has had. This has been now 5 days in a row from 7 to almost 12, 11 3/4, and closing at the upper end of the range. I have a target back in here. It says we test 13 as early as tomorrow or the next day. Peloton exploded and came back with a vengeance, engulfing the last 2 days bars as well, and then backed off. If we can get it up to today's high, up about 30 or so, my target's 33, 34 zone. And TDOC with a nice reversal as well. Now in a wedge type pattern. That's what the wedge looks like. It's a nice setup for an extension. If we do extend, this might be $195 to $200, which I said 3 weeks ago, this is a $200 stock. U.S. Steel coming off the low, had a nice pop on heavy volume. Didn't close great because it filled the gap and backed up, but I'd watch this one, particularly if it gets to 7, 15, 20 zone. Then the target's 8.5 and 9 3/4. XAIR with a big day, popped out of a wedge and exploded for $1.42 or 18%. Volume picked up as well. OBV looks good. I wouldn't be shocked at this point that this stock makes a run right back up to 12.5. And let's go to the short side. Had a lot of shorts to show you. I know I had some requests. Foreign airline Copa Holdings. For me, an hourly chart, you can see ran up and broke its channel after a nice 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 way move. It peaked out there and backed off. Not too bad so far, but if this goes below there, this may fall apart quickly into the mid to high 20s. Stay tuned. It's 39 right now. Could be a lot of room for dropping. Here's the daily. See that drop off? It's on the platform. If it breaks here, it might go down there. So Copart also ran up and a retracement is rolling over. It might retest the gap right there at about 61.5. currently 64 and 3/4. And below that, it could retest the lows or worse. CVI is looking terrible. It bounced for a couple of days and it pulled back right back to the lows. It's the kind of stock in the oil sector that looks terrible. And despite the current pattern, if it breaks through that level right there, you're looking at a stock is going to be 12, maybe even 10. DOO similarly has come way down and bounced a couple of times, but unable to do much. And I think a retest of the lows is warranted near 13, maybe even down 11. Darden Restaurants, with all the restaurants closed, basically his company has got nothing in terms of revenue generation. But the pullback was expected. The question is how far now? My next target on the downside would be 38 and from 46 where it is now. EW bounced to resistance, rolled over, had a breakaway gap to the downside today. Look for a retest of 160 and maybe 153. AHPI in the travel industry. Folks, I got to tell you, anything having to do with travel is got a problem. That's why the airlines look so bad, and that's why the cruise ship lines look terrible as well. This one had a snap back to resistance in the gap, is rolling over. Expect a retest potential about 40 and 3/4, 41, maybe into the mid-30s. GNTX, auto parts with auto sales stalled. This thing's come down hard, and it looks terrible. And I think there's a possibility we're going to see this drop into the high teens. MGPI forming a bear wedge. Not very impressive look, is it? Look for retest of 21, maybe into the 19 range. NSCC similarly is making lower lows now. Not that many stocks are doing that already. This is an indication of real relative weakness. And I would not be surprised if it doesn't hold 13 3/4, 14, that it drops into that 10, 11 range. PLAN snapped back to resistance after forming a wedge and getting crushed right back down near the lows. Not so sure what's wrong with this one, but a full retest of the lows might be in order if this market extends to the downside. And that would call for a move down near 22. Six Flags closed all their parks. The stock came right back down now. I don't know how far this goes, but I think a retest around a 9, give or take a quarter, might be in order. Chip Advisors, similar to Expedia, again, rallied back to the channel bottom and is rolled over now. At some point, this might be in the low teens. WRLD looks terrible. After coming down and flagging again, it's continued to roll over. And from the 135 range, it's come down to 50 and looks yet even lower. My target, 42. And finally, WWE, one of my old short swings from here, still looks terrible. Rising wedge, bear wedge, snapback failure, rollover Beethoven. I'm looking for a retest of that low and potentially down around 25. And that's a view of the longs and the shorts for tonight's charts of the day. Good night, everybody.